family, building you, building strong families, building strong futures. Join us on Men on Monday.
Well, good morning to everyone, wherever you are today. It's good to have you with us on today's edition of Men on Monday. How are you doing today? It's been a rainy couple of days from Friday. We've just been having rain. The earth has been refreshed, and we are thankful that the earth has been refreshed. And I'm sure you've been refreshed too, keeping you in. Well, we are accustomed being inside anyway, but it's good to have you, together with us this morning, wherever you are across the globe. It is Men on Monday. I'm Marissa Boyce with you today, along with Bishop Mark, Bishop Edison, Minister Clair Browne, and you, our viewers, wherever you are. Today we are continuing our Teach Me to Love series. Good morning to Karen. Good morning to Susan. And in our Teach Me to Love series, we are talking about how to show affection. How to show affection, what to do and what not to do. And this is going to be quite interesting based on some of the comments that we've been hearing over our show for a while, where they say that the men show women affection and the women tell the man, don't touch me, and all of these comments and so forth. But affection can be understood in various ways. So we are going to be exploring that today. So wherever you are, like our stream, hit that like button. And good morning to you, Ramon. Hit that like button and make sure that you share our live stream. Good morning to you wherever you are. It is good today. Minister Brown looking sharp today. Yes, yes. What's that Susan is saying? Yeah, so good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. How are you today? Good. Yeah.
Come on, Bishop Mark. I thought you would have jumped in there, but seeing that Minister Sinclair looked so dazzling today, we should give him the opportunity to really go ahead.
Yeah,
What do you
start off things. Yeah.
Yes, please. I'm feeling great. Honestly, feel excited. I had a really good weekend. Um, I facilitated a marriage retreat this weekend, so we had over 100 persons on that session. So it was tremendous, and I definitely want to give flowers to the two bishops. I want to say honestly, I want to thank Bishop Mark, especially in my first journey into Christianity as an adult, for giving me opportunity to with marriage ministry and men's ministry. So I love that birthed in me, and also Bishop Edson in my journey of allowing me to be myself. He was one of my teachers at Mexican theology, and he was very pivotal in me embracing myself and me coming into this person. So I had an excellent weekend. So yes, I'm just having the afterglow of of the weekend. So blessings to you in the name of Jesus.
I like that.
Well,
Afterglow.
I had a very excellent weekend too because most of the time I was ministered onto. Didn't really have to work in church this weekend, and the rain was wonderful because it was able to. I didn't get to a marriage retreat, but I was retreating in marriage. And I'm
Praise
not.
the Lord.
I'm not
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. I'm not looking as dapper as Mr. Sinclair, which says to me to check, start looking at my wardrobe. But that's another thing for another time. Good morning,
know?
everybody.
You got to try to get this man to behave himself.
Yeah.
I had a good weekend as well. Had a really powerful time in the house of the Lord with the saints of God. Just really a time where we were open to the Holy Spirit. It was just a beautiful, beautiful time in the presence of Almighty God.
Over at Charnox. Yes, over at Charnox. So good morning
Yes,
to the folks
please.
over at Charnox. And if you didn't know that Bishop Edison, I think we forgot to say Bishop Edison is now the senior pastor at Charnox Pentecostal. And we commend him on that, doing some great things. So these men are movers and shakers. You see them on the show, but they're doing lots of great things, as they continue to advance the kingdom. Now, today's discussion is all about affection. We continue from last week, and it's how to show affection. And that's quite an interesting topic because remember, we went back to the love languages, and understanding the love languages makes a big difference in understanding how a person receives love. And to me, that was one of my biggest learning moments, if I can say, from last year when we had our love series. One of my biggest lessons was the fact that I could be showing love. I could be washing Bishop Mark's clothes, but really and truly, he wants a meal. I could be sweeping the house top to bottom. And I mean, yes, these are all things to be appreciated. But really and truly, my husband wants me to sit next to him. So it's important for us to understand that the love languages are key, and understanding your spouse's love language makes a big difference in how they will receive love. And interestingly enough, not everybody is able to cater to somebody's love language. That's the interesting thing. So who's going to start us off? Or is Bishop Edison going to start us off?
Well, you know me, I in the background there typing, typing, typing. But yeah, I'm just trying to avoid some of the feedback there.
You want me to jump in then?
No, no, no. It's
Please
just a
do.
matter of the feedback that we're getting. Yeah, but no. I like where Marissa started the program, the whole focus on the love languages. Yeah, and I think it's important to identify the different love languages because we have acts of service. We have people who like when you do things for them, when you help them out in the kitchen, when you rub well, it overlaps with other love languages. But when you do things for people, you help people in different ways. They feel very appreciated. Then there's some people that like gifts. No, no, my wife personally does not like flowers. So if I come and bring her flowers, I would not be showing her affection based on her particular love language. I'm not saying that, she might not kind of appreciate it, but it would not be primary at all for her. All right. So you have gifts, you have quality time. In terms of spending quality time with the individual, you have physical touch, any kind of touch. It could be sexual, non-sexual. You have words of affirmation. So I think knowing the love languages, and then as Marissa said, knowing what your partner prefers in love language, because typically we tend to speak our love language. So what we are comfortable with, that's what we do for other people. And while there's nothing wrong with that, sometimes it is not meaningful enough. While intentions are great, it is better to know what your spouse is looking for, what their primary love language is, and then speak that. No, they might have secondary love languages, but there are some things that make you feel love. That from the time you do it, the person is on the moon. Yeah. So when you speak that primary love language, you know that you're going to get response. And then Minister Sinclair will probably jump in, but he was talking about the different types of personality. So now we can move from the love languages and we can incorporate that with the different personality types. So you have the driver, you have the influencer, and so on. And so by knowing your partner's personality type, you can better understand how to show affection. So there's some tools that you can use that will be helpful in terms of showing affection.
Go ahead, Sinclair. You were saying, go ahead.
So I was waiting, Bishop Mark. I thought he had something to jump in there. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. One things with the love languages is this is the other part you want to add to this. Because we're getting you're on layering and we're learning. And I would definitely advise people that are listening, to enjoy the program, but it'd be good if you get a book and start to take notes. Because it's wanting to hear the information, but you can have a tendency to forget majority of it. It is one of the things of retention. We can remember 10% of what people are sharing. So, we are given that time and effort. We love the show, but if you want to be empowered and really impact the kingdom, it'd be really good to take some notes so that we can really move forward in your personal relationship. Yes? So when you think with the love languages, now you get a little bit, there is the element of what I like to receive. Yeah. So we have the five as was mentioned just now. Words of affection, acts of service, touch, quality time, and gifts. And I like what Bishop Bynoe said just now. There are some things that subset each other. because you may be doing acts of services such as massaging the feet, but it also incorporates physical touch. So a person may like the act of you saying, well, like down there, you're watching TV, bring your feet here to me, massage them. So while I may enjoy the massage, it may not be so much the touch, but the acts of service that is there. I can even misconstrued that it was the touch and not the acts of service. Some people prefer the touch more than the act. So it is good to understand what I want to receive. That is the first thing. The other element is, and this is what is different, what I give, because sometimes we think what I receive or what I want is what I'm comfortable giving, which isn't necessarily true. I may like acts of service, but I may not be giving acts of service. So I might feel love when somebody gives me acts of service. But I might not be comfortable, yeah, giving acts. So I like the acts of service, but I'm giving gifts because I figure, I like the girl, I buy the girl of this, I buy the girl of that. So I might like acts of service, but I might be comfortable buying gifts. And my girl might like physical touch, but I'm uncomfortable with physical touch. So there's a third element there that is we need to understand what I want or what I feel love or feel appreciated. Uh, then there's the spouse, what they like to feel love or what is their interpretation when they do this thing. And also what I feel comfortable or what I am accustomed doing to express love. And also what does that person do to express love? And that is where it becomes a little bit tangled a little bit because, well, I got your list, you like gifts, yeah? But that person may not be a person like to go into Sheraton and walk around and look for a gift and they don't like that. So that is difficult. So a person they're waiting on the gift. I told you I like gifts, but they don't like crowds. What I mean? They don't like shopping. What I mean? So then they might send somebody for the gift and the person bring the wrong thing and they're like, oh shoot. I had a gift for you, but I gave you next week. And the person all upset because I like gifts and you're not putting in the effort. You like touch and I massage your feet. You don't care about me. You don't love me. And that is how it can get a little bit complicated. So I'm just tossing that in there to show that somebody can have the information, but then it can get a little touches. Maybe look at these other two variables. I say, what do I feel comfortable giving? And what's my spouse feel comfortable giving? But we have to make adjustments for the spouse. And sometimes that could be a little challenging.
Yeah, I think Secure has a very good point. You dropped right in the middle of this thing. Because, a lot of times you talk about the love languages and all of that, but I'm sure everybody can appreciate that to provide one and to even receive these acts of affection are very, very, very important because as we would have, there are situations where, for example, a man might be touchy, but his wife doesn't like him touching its claws or skin and things of that nature. And that is why it is very important to communicate and understand each other's backgrounds, understand and be willing. This is what, as Secure was talking here to my head, you have to be willing. That's why I always say marriages work. And I needed to change the name of my book for working at marriage to marriages work. Because now if the love is really there, it should be able to make the necessary adjustments. For example, Sinclair said about I'm a person may not love crowds. Personally, I don't really go in town. I don't do that. But what I do is that when it is time to make sure I get something for my wife, that I make that effort and go and do it myself. Because I get the impression too that you can't get people to do those intimate things for you because, at the end of the day, this body chooses and not you, whatever. So you need to make sure that you're able to make those adjustments because the same way you want to receive, you have to learn how to give. And that's what the Bible says. It is better to give than to receive. Some people carry that too far and don't want to, understand that some people give and then feel intimidated by receiving. And because a person will help all the time. But if I broke, I would not go and tell somebody that I've been helping for years that I want anything because I somehow I'm a giver. That's my natural personality. But at the end of the day, I had to realize, well, I'll give an example. A lady came to me at church on a Sunday years ago, and I knew her condition, and she placed a certain amount of money in my hand. And I said to her, are you sure you don't have to do this? You don't have to, do this for me because I understand your situation. She said, Pastor, you appreciate one thing and doing the next. You say it's better to give than to receive. I know you want to mess up my blessing. I just shame. I took the money. I walked along feeling like, because she realized that I'm acting now on my faith. You teach me this thing. I know you don't want to take that from me, So it is a similar thing when you get into relationships. People have various, I call it how they're culturized. They have various little idiosyncrasies that really it's hard to break. And that is where it's important to communicate. And a lot of times too, women get the impression that men don't have any emotions. They're not emotional. So a man doesn't necessarily need for me to show too much affection. He's strong. He loves me. And he don't need all of that mushy stuff. But let the ladies know that we men like it bad too. We like to know that we are appreciated. And, say a little things when you all dress up. Let me hear a couple. You want to see your thing look nice. You want to see, your shirt tucked in neat. Those kind of things. So please understand that we in this big tough thing. We are men who want to be appreciated and want to experience affection too. So you got to make the little adjustments, both sides, to make sure that particular, remember, two becoming one, especially if you're in a marital relationship and so on. Those are the kind of things that we have to do. Break those mindsets and things of that nature.
I agree, Bishop Mark. There's a point where you have to sometimes come out of your comfort zone. And as you said, that marriage is hard work. But it's really about, I often go back to a statement I heard Bishop Creflo Dollar share, where he told a couple that you are responsible for how you treat her, and she's responsible for how she treats you. And if you focus on how you treat your spouse and you think about what they need, you're better able to meet their needs and not necessarily think about what you want to give them. So the important thing is to give somebody, why would you want to give somebody something that you don't enjoy giving, that you only enjoy? I mean, suppose my spouse likes red socks and I give them black socks. What's the sense of giving them black socks when they want red socks? That's the first thing, is to identify it and then find the capacity to give to meet that. Because sometimes, and because as you said, especially when it comes to the whole thing about touching in our society, I've heard Bishop Mark say that there are times when a man would return to touch his wife, and she would be, I don't know why you're touching me, and fussing about it. And it seems that is a big thing where men who want to touch, women don't want to be touched. So that seems to be an interesting thing there. What happens when, a person does not like being touched, but for you, your love language is to show, that touch, that passing touch, that I know maybe a rub head, because it doesn't only go for women, but it's also for men, because there's some women too who love to touch, and then there's some men who don't want to be touched, but that's somebody's way of expressing love. So how do you manage that when it's on the opposite end, when you want to give that, and that's how you show love, but the person doesn't receive that?
That goes into several things there. And I want to tell people honestly that the thing with marriage is that this is new. The whole thing of getting married because you love a person is a new system. Okay. People did not get married necessarily for love before. Okay. So that's why all this information, I jumped over these love languages and personalities and all these different things, because marriage was, I'm serious. That way, when people look at the Bible, they tell them a healthy marriage is held together by knowledge and not by love. It seems romantic, but you don't see that even from a biblical perspective. Is very a choice, is a system, is a system. That way, people that are in the East, they had arranged marriages, and the marriages last forever. First thing you saw your spouse was at the altar. I was like, yeah, we choose, cool. My parents choose you, let me go, right? That is a crazy ideology for those in the West. So the thing that now we have all these things that go, um, the love and love languages, all those things is new. So this is one of the reasons now that we're in a space that sometimes is difficult, because let's say for a lot of men, and I want to say men because women would normally share about, men don't want to be touched or men don't want to show public affection. And yes, and there's a huge element of that where there are guys that would feel like a soft man because he walking through town holding a woman's hand, and that's not just in Barbados. That's across the world. Like, I mean, especially um, a lot of the cultures that exist. But holding hands in public as a man You know, I've had a guy say he was a figure soft man, but he would try to hold his hand, so he's an easy hand to hers and stuff like that, right? So it
What
can be,
wait. Sinclair, stop. That he's a soft man because he hold his wife hand?
yeah. There are a lot of people that feed women too. There's some women that you can't hold their hand in public. That is not just a man thing. That is a personality.
I know the women thing, but I was just thinking about the man saying that he feels like a soft man. I thought that more. It's more like okay, go ahead.
There's some things that people are comfortable doing in public, and then there's some things that they will do in private and only in private.
Only in private, exactly.
People don't understand that. Yeah, they will hold hands in private. They're good for that. We do it at home, but if we in public, different story.
Right. That whole public affection takes on a different kettle of fish altogether. And that's one of the reasons that is sometimes people's comfort level. So, yes, let me say a guy wants to hold the girl's hand, but she doesn't like holding hands in public. She's uncomfortable. She feels exposed. It makes people like look at the attention, because some people don't attention. So it might not be that I don't like holding your hand. It is that it draws attention, and I don't like attention. So it gets a little deeper than just
like opening the door for a lady or something like that.
Yeah, some of me don't. I'm serious. I'm telling you, I'm Generation X, right? And I'm telling you, y'all ladies then decided that we equal, and opening the door became a bad thing all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Open the door, open the door myself, like my hands in breath. So you don't have to open the door
don't open
the door. You know what I mean? You're caught in this weird schism of women being independent and they feel like less than because you open the door for them. So if you open the door, you don't get a thanks, you don't get nothing, you just get whoosh, right? So we are caught in all these things that says this is a form of expression, there's a form of what a man's supposed to do, but it is very cultural and individual, and this is what makes it get complex. Because we get information from other people, we try to express it in our relationship, and it doesn't work. Yeah. So as you ask the question, I touch, but a person uncomfortable. The challenge is there's some people that even in private, touch becomes a problem.
So my thing is this:
private touch is a problem. Yes,
so we're going back to the question. You are showing, before we talked about the fact that you are showing a spouse love in a way that they don't receive. And then now you are showing so this is your love language. Your love is pass and brush and touch them. I remember, sometimes you'll be in a house when the person pass and amend. And I hear Bishop Mark always say that he does this with his wife, pass and, squeeze her and so forth. So what happens now when you are looking for that and the person doesn't give that either? So it is really a condition of the mind where I could be in a relationship with someone whom I want to pass and rub Bishop Mark's bald head, and I can't rub his bald head because if I rub his bald head, he wants to know what happened to you. Are you rubbing my head? What happened? I'll give you a look, and then you're uncomfortable. Then you're looking for the person to pass and brush you. They pass you like two passing trains, and you're not getting that kind of love, that kind of touch or affection. Or maybe you're looking for flowers, you don't get the flowers. So when we have this conversation, what should this conversation sound like? Because there needs to be some sort of addressing something here, because something is missing. Because someone is going to feel a deficit and someone is going to feel comfortable while someone is, so I don't know if you're missing, you understand what I'm saying, Bishop Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, that is why I don't believe in writing things down. What has to happen? I do it normally when we doing the marriage counseling before, like likes and dislikes and so on. And that's why you must open to conversation, because don't care how much love there is and how beautiful the person you love or what they look and you like the physical attributes and all of that. It's important that you try to understand what your partner wants in almost every area, whether in the bedroom, whether dealing with money. You need to know that. And therefore, what should happen is that you should be practical. Take a piece of paper and make fun of it and write on one side of the paper all the things you like, that, like we talk about your love language, the things you like. I like flowers. I like a dinner once every month. Everything that you like. And then highlight the dislikes. Don't bring the flowers to me. Flowers ain't gonna do anything for me, right? Once you have that now, what you do as the individual is focus, as you were saying earlier, Marissa, you focus on seeking to please the person. So if each person in the relationship walking around thinking about pleasing each other with information, They have information. They're thinking. They're saying that men don't like to be touched. They're saying they like to hold hands in public. A lot of times, white people don't like these things is because of how they're being culturalized. They've never seen their parents hold their hands. They've never seen the outward thing of kissing and hugging in family. So when they go in public, they see it at home. They're accustomed to it. And you want to do it in Broad Street? Ain't gonna happen. So why fight for something like that? Then now you can do that. You speak, you discuss why you like it. Your body might hold your hand for a few seconds. You practice at it. You're going to tell you, so let me walk here for 2 minutes, hold my hand, see it and kill you. And you do the practical stuff. But that can only come if you are operating out of knowledge, right? If you're operating out of relevant information. So there's nothing wrong with having a night where we say, listen, let me write out this thing because they're working. This is what I want. I like chocolates, I like jewelry. I know exactly what my wife likes. She has some very expensive taste. So I just have to budget for like a year to buy a gift for my wife because she likes nice things, And so I have to budget for that. But she knows that I can't necessarily go and give her a $10,000 necklace. But I will try to get close to maybe a little $800 thing. So you work the thing practically. And she understands because I explain the expenses all right through. And that's it. Because lack of information then leads us to speculate. And a lot of times we are speculating according to what we heard or some women friends say or our men friends say, what we might have come up with. And we think what we come up with is it. So that is why communication is important and that you write it down. Let visually see what the person like and don't like, and then you will have better information to meet their needs in terms of affection and other things. That'd be my advice.
Yeah, let me jump in there too and say that there are some couples or some individuals that are dysfunctional. Yeah, as Bishop Mark said, how people have been culturized. So Minister Sinclair has always been saying that there's some people that they have the conversation. The conversation isn't going to go anywhere. They will exchange information, but because they're so dysfunctional, they now need to get emotional healing. And that is where the external parties come in, the counseling comes in, because sometimes people don't know what they're doing. They get married, yes, but they have their own expectations, they have their own assumptions, so they don't really understand how to function in this marriage thing. So let's say they do what Bishop Mark says, they write down everything, which is a good thing. That's a good step. And if a couple is reasonable and healthy, they would look at that list and they would say, hey, I can see what I could do. But there's some people in the back of their mind, this is unnatural. In the back of their mind, they cannot, they don't know how to deal with this. They don't know how to make this thing happen. So I think it's important for some people to get the counseling because they might have to be coached as to how to do it. Yeah, step by step to change their thinking and their feeling. And so once you're able to change their thinking and their feeling, you can get them to do things in a more healthy way. Yeah, but we're assuming sometimes that a couple is healthy, reasonable, understanding, and that may not always be the case.
But that's the thing right there. And that's one of the reasons, as I tell people, the information we share here definitely is a lot of first layered information. Yeah. So, yes, writing those lists down. I would always mention to Bishop Mark, and that's what some things he may be able to like, he would be sharing this information. And he said, well, can't stand, we got to get it. Give with the powerful information. People got to pay for this information, and y'all still doing the same thing. But the truth of the matter is, despite the fact, and I said, although a person may raise in a particular space, be it single parent and all those things, a person can be raised in a similar environment, but they're healthy. They know to make changes. They know to make adjustments. There are some people, because of their personality, because of their intake or their output, it is difficult for them to make adjustments. So getting the information does not mean they know to make adjustments. And I normally share with my clients, kind of giving this story to explain. When I was at school, I was athlete. I was good, but I wasn't great. So I would more be the decathlon guy than the person that played. But I was in the 100 finals, and I came second last. And I came second last because the guy behind me stopped running. That was it, right? But I made the finals. But when it came to the 4x1, which was interesting enough, I made the 4x1 team. Why? Because there are people that couldn't run a curve, there are people that couldn't take a baton, there are people that couldn't pass a baton. And by process of elimination, because they could not make an adjustment from start, run straight line, finish, they couldn't make the adjustment. So although they were faster than me, they could not make the adjustment, although it was a similar 100, but it was different. So there are people that they may be here, but to make a curve in their life, it takes a longer time because as expressing that love. So you could have said, I like physical touch, but I was able to give you what you want. How come you can't give me what I want? You don't love me, you don't care, all those things, which is not necessarily true. Bishop Mark made an example just now in a way he shared when he said, you hold the person's hand for 2 minutes. As they say, I kill you now, and you go. Because you see, the problem is that the person may hold your hand for 2 minutes, but that 2 minutes might have been so uncomfortable for them. So by the time the person let go of their hand, the person didn't take note of the 2 minutes. They look at the fact that they let go of the hand. If you understand, so it was not an encouragement to extend holding the hand. So also, you ashamed of me or whatever. What you've just done is put a negative emotion on the effort, which is they were saying, well, I know you don't like holding hands, but you hold my hand for 2 minutes. Thank you, right? Eventually, I'm just saying, the person can do 5 minutes, and you add a positive to it. You do positive, you do classical conditioning. So there are a lot of things that people don't understand, that they may see a person with 18 years in marriage and see, oh, they're holding hands in public, but they don't know the things they had to do to get there. They get married a year now and want the 18-year marriage in 2 months, in 6 months.
That is true.
But they don't understand the journey. And clearly, I share like my wife and I, like for instance, we kissed before we leave home, and when we come back home. When we first got married, that was something that's very uncomfortable for my wife. That was not something my wife would have normally done. But it took, like, say, the classical conditioning. Now, if I'm leaving home and I don't give her a kiss, she looking like, you want kissing me when you leaving? And all of a sudden she's going
you better kiss me.
Yeah, you better kiss me. Like, oh, you're afraid of Marissa, so you don't want to kiss me now? And I'm telling you, in our first 2-3 years, that would have not happened. I'm telling you, that would have not happened. Yeah. So we expect to see the benefit of people that were mature, walking through effort, and want what a 10-year, 12-year, 15, 8-year marriage has. But then we want it in 6 seconds. Marriage is not a microwave. Marriage is a slow cooker. Yeah.
But see, you said something that was very, very, very informative. You talked about the 2 minute and so on. The person, instead of appreciating 2 minutes, get angry and so on and so on. But that speaks to something else. A lot of times people come into relationships only seeking to receive. They are using the person to make up for what they might have lacked. For example, if you have had rejection in your life, like I went through a lot of that with my dad and so on. But I made a determination that I'm not going to look to my wife every once in a while it still raises its head, because if you don't feel appreciated or you feel rejected in some way, you still respond. You respond a little better now because 28 years, 29 in these years. But the point I'm making is that a lot of times people get into these relationships, say that they're in love, but they want the love to fit them, to appease them, to meet some needs that they might not have had, or some deficiencies, or whatever you want to call it. And so that is where you find that somebody tried for the 2 minute hand holding publicly, and instead of appreciating it, you calling, well, Lord, you don't love me, you ashamed of me. You think, and you go down the road with a whole set of negativity. Then that 2 minutes should have been celebrated. And so that is why I think it's vitally important, right? Vitally important. And I'm telling you, sometimes you have to give up. What should I say? You have to give up your space initially in order to get back around to you. I hope you understand what he's saying. So it means that sometimes you have to push to please the other person, and then by extension you get back. Not only do it till you get back, but it comes back to you. Because if your spouse is comfortable, by extension you should be comfortable too, right? But not comfortable here is all about you all the time. So that is really careful for you. And another point I talked about, like, expectations. Expectations are also to be discussed. And honestly, I don't hide anything. So that now I know a part of my job, part of the hard work of this marriage is not only about me getting, or this relationship about me getting, but it's about how well I'm able to respond to my partner's needs. And once each person do that, as they all accept, and they come on the place, everybody, love must be the center of the whole thing.
All right, I clicked the wrong thing there. All right, so we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and I want to talk about discussing expectations, because that's a part of affection. Discussing these expectations and really examining them as we continue right here on Men on Monday. Good morning to all of you who are with us. We are this morning discussing how you can show affection. That's right, in our Teach Me to Love series. Don't forget that Bishop Mark has lessons right now. We're heading into our time with CXC, and those of you who are doing CSAC, maths and accounts, you need those lessons. Make sure you give Bishop Mark a call at 268-1078. That's 268-1078. And don't forget to check out Bishop Edison Bynoe with his new book, 8 Success Factors for a Healthy Life, available on Amazon right now. And of course, also Minister Clair Browne and the Healthy Talking team. Well, we are back, and I want to say good morning to all of you who are joining us again. Today, we are talking and discussing all about affection. And we're talking about, yes, this morning, expectations as Bishop Mark, because I really want to talk about that. The fact that, when it comes to affection, people will have their expectations. And interestingly enough, one of our viewers this morning commented that when she's upset, she might not show affection in the process of when she's upset, but doesn't at that place long. And it's interesting to note that when we're in this place, it shifts. Things shift. The expectation shift. So suppose you're one that when you were upset, you would still relate to your spouse in love. And then what if you have another person who says to you, when I'm vexed, don't even talk to me. So the affection is gone because of that. So, let's discuss that. Go ahead.
When we use words sometimes, I wonder what because we talk about when the pressure is on, how affection disappears. I don't know. I might experience something like that, so I thank you, Lord, for a special wife. Maybe I might be more popular where that's concerned as she is, but I thank you, Lord, for that. But we all say the same, well, I'm vexed so hard. And he's very, very clear. He want to come and jump in, let me have sex. And maybe then the vertical is happening, he ain't treating me right, so he want to come down with the horizontal. And all these things that we set in our mind. But I think that's why discussion and communication is important. And you discuss, if we have an issue with something, should not affect my affection. Right? It doesn't happen here with us. And up to I'll give a little story again quickly. We were here, me and my wife, we had a real little discussion over something, and we had our little thing, and she we going on the road. And when we came back then for breakfast, we sat down. My wife did the same thing. She would usually sit there, we share the thing. You want this, you want bread, you want the next, whatever. And what blew my mind was that my daughter said, listen, going to be 17 in April. She said, listen, when I do get involved, I'm married, I won't be like throwing the door. Just there, one another day, seriously about the particular issue. I know you're all saying, hey, ask if you want this, if you want butter, this is enough bacon. She said, well, when it's something else, this is, you know what I'm saying? So right in front of us, this lady, my daughter, saw it, and see, and that is how you have to do it. Whether or not I vex with you or you do something wrong, we ain't perfect. That all of a sudden I put I have breakfast. I do it. I eat my breakfast in the bedroom. We had a disagreement out in front of the TV. You go in one bedroom, I go in the next. That to me, people got to mature. And Minister Sinclair said this all the time. Marriage for immature people. A lot of people bring all of their baggage and place it. Oh, you're talking. So and they're walking streets, they pass one another and speaking to one another for weeks. We need to get more mature than that. So that's when again this thing has getting emotional. Because this thing about affection, you love my husband though, but then you could diss your husband or your wife for something that they made a mistake or they disagree with you. Because people bring too much baggage. That's why I tell Sinclair already his drama leaves lasting impressions on people. He did something at church called your baggage walk, a big suitcase and thing. We didn't even have to preach. That minister like a sermon. That's what our man did there, but that's another story. Sorry to digress a little bit.
So I think
But
it's really
you know,
about
Marissa,
self-control that's
no,
necessary in these situations. That self-control must be key. Go ahead, Bishop Edison.
yeah, no, what I was thinking is that sometimes you have to learn from other people, yeah, because remember you have been culturized a certain way, and you only know certain things. You operate within certain parameters or within certain boxes. So sometimes you need to be around the people like Bishop Mark. You need to be around Minister Sinclair and so on, because then from being around other people, you get to understand some of the things that you can do, some of the things that are possible. No, you don't have to do everything that they do, because your marriage is not to be a copycat of their marriage. But you might learn a tip or two by being around other couples, and you might learn some things about physical affection. You might learn some things about language, affirmation, encouragement, complimenting, getting gifts. So there are little things that you can learn from other people. And I think if you're going to work on certain things, you have to have something external from you. If everything is internal to you and you're not taking in any information, any guidance, and so on, you will do what you've always been accustomed doing. Yeah. And even if you look at our faith, Christianity is not lived out by uh by being an individual isolated from other people. You learn
That's
how to
true.
be a good Christian, even in terms of your worship, prayer, Bible study, by being around other people. So if you have a willingness to learn, and that's one of the things, and then from there you are willing to change, but that's another skill set that need to be developed, then your marriage will get better. And I like what Minister Sinclair said. It's not going to be in a day. It's not going to be in a couple of weeks. It takes months. It takes years to learn how to do certain things and to be comfortable doing them. And then eventually you like a old couple. You ever seen in old couples? The wife would nag the husband, and the husband, but she always, and he would get up. But then two people love one another, ba 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 ba, and that's how you become. But you don't get there overnight.
As you're sharing there, our program is about how do I show affection? Teach me how to love you. And it's important that this can only happen if information is shared and people have open hearts to receive that information. Because Bishop Mark just said something, that really resonated with me in terms of the fact that we have opportunities to love and to show love. But it's the fact that these opportunities are here, and it's what you do with the information that you have to change the other person or to impact the other person. So when that person holds hands for 2 minutes, don't be negative about it. Comment them and say, I really love the fact that you hold my hand today. Or, they try to cook a meal, especially if they're not a cook. And you say to them, I'm glad that, you made an effort, and I'm glad that you did that. Make sure that we compliment and not necessarily be negative in response to their efforts. It is important for us to pay attention to our responses to their efforts, because in nature, as Bishop Edison just said, the coming together, watching other people who have healthy marriages or somewhat, they're growing in their marriage. Surround yourself with persons who will help you to build, rather than, become isolated because you're in a certain situation. And I believe that not only counseling, but I believe that marriage ministries in church are key. I believe that they're very key to helping people build stronger marriages, because not everybody's going to come on and say, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that. But the fact that you can say, this is what I'm dealing with, or a couple talks about something and how they got through their journey on something else, will help you understand. that, I'm not the only one going through this at this season of my marriage. But it's really about loving your spouse, being on the place to say, I'm going to sacrifice self to meet my spouse. And then the spouse not being on the other end, being a taker, taking all the time and not giving in response. And I think that's majorly key when we share thoughts this morning. It's about your response and effort towards, showing your spouse affection in a way that they understand it, and not necessarily
Mhm.
going into a marriage or to our relationship to say it's about what I can get. Let me see what I can get. Let me see what I can get. But rather giving. Go ahead, Minister Sinclair.
I think Anne Braff said something quite interesting there. She says if someone is broken, she said they can't or they shouldn't be in a relationship. And then Substance Smith says, I beg to differ. Sometimes God places individuals in the way to help mend the brokenness. And Bishop says some people don't know they're broken. And those three comments I want to mesh together, which is quite interesting. What can happen that can be abusive in a relationship? Let's say because they're compulsive givers and they're compulsive takers, and they fight each other. Yeah. And it could be a person draining the life of an individual, and that person, oh, I don't feel love. I don't feel love. You're not meeting my love language. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And there's nothing you can do to fill a broken vessel. And what that ends up being abusive to another individual. So sometimes we have to also have boundaries in the midst of affection, because the person this person needs. The truth of the matter is, and that's one of the reasons in my sessions, what I do, I teach people as being individuals, learning to love yourself, accept yourself. That is the main thing, because if you know how to fill your cup, the demand is less on the other individual. But what happens, I find, is that people stay over here and they say, "Yeah, fill my cup." And if you don't fill my cup, oh, you don't love me, and I feel empty and I feel drained. That is a level that could end up abusive, and it has, because we end up in a society that we're developing. I'm serious. We're developing more narcissistic characteristics. I'm not saying we're narcissists, but we are very self-centered in our behavior, because we post and we get to see how much likes they had and how much things. It is always about me being the recipient. And the challenge is that there's some people now who go in now to relationship to be a giver. And if you're that person that loves to give and love to give, and you meet this person who's just a compulsive taker, there's nothing you can do to make them feel satisfied or appreciated. They're easily offended and they're broken. And you could end up just losing your being inside of there. So I have no problem with affection, showing affection, understanding love languages, but you also have a sense of self, because in that space, someone spoke about deliverance earlier. Deliverance, I think, is necessary, but deliverance is not a cure. Okay, deliverance is not a cure. Deliverance is to get rid of those demonic things that can oppress or suppress an individual. If you are not a Christian, you could be obsessed. If you're a Christian, you're suppressed. But Christians, yes, we need deliverance too. But it frees you from that, but it doesn't change choices. Yeah, we think that deliverance, you go to the altar, you throw up and whatever happens, oh, I have my deliverance. No, you still got to get up and make choices. And you hear this on the program all the time, and Bishop Mark normally goes there. Your background, your history is more vital than anything else, because many times our affection variables are what we see, what we've raised up around. An absent father, Jerry speaking, you're going to find an absent guy. Okay? So I didn't raise with a father around. So my solution in relationships was, if we are having an argument, and I was raised with only females, mother, grandmother, sister, so all that estrogen in the house, I used to leave home. So if you in a relationship and you start to argue, you know what I did? I left home. It was the solution that I raised up with. So I thought I was doing a good thing, because I'm not going to get into argument and then say something that I can't, retract later. So although I was doing a good thing in my mind and in my heart, it was offensive in a relationship. And many times we don't even know we're doing something offensive. We actually think we're doing something good by walking away, by going into the other room. And sometimes you have to walk away because that person could be nagging. They don't know when to stop. They don't know to respect boundaries. And all those are things that now you have to learn. So it's not a one-shot musket, and we have to learn how to be able to deal with those emotions. Some people cannot deal with silence. So a person might be upset and they're just trying to say, you know what, I'm angry right now. They languaged it and they're saying, give me a couple minutes. But because they're quiet, and they're poking and they're touching, or let me hug, let me hold, let me talk, and the person, could you please stop? But they tell me to talk and they tell me to communicate, and you know you're not listening to the program, and the person loses it. You understand? So the variables are very much muddled. I would say to people is that we need to have a third party, somebody to teach us. The ideology that we could do this on our own, I think is stupid. Yes, I really think it's stupid in 2022 that we think that we can either listen to a program and healing and we don't want in our business. The best singers in the world, you know what they have? Vocal trainers. Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, he had a coach. There's no way that we're thinking that in life that we have relationships and we shouldn't try to have somebody coaching us, that their life, which is difficult and hard, and we should have life coaches. The Bible said, a multitude of counsel, there is wisdom. And I think that first not understand that not all the information we're going to get, and sometimes, sorry, quickly, I had a couple of married 65 years, and they came, and I was so humble because how you married 65 years and it's a baby to y'all in a relationship. You would take them and say, you can't tell me that I married 65 years. But what was so beautiful with this couple that says, no, we go to marriage, we go to counsel at least once a year. You know, to make sure that we keep up. We don't wait till there's a problem. We go and get counsel to make sure that any issue. And they had an issue. It was the wife. She was a bigger personality. And the beautiful thing is, and because she's so open, she wouldn't mind me sharing this. But she thought she was complaining and saying her husband, he's on the internet a lot. He's on the internet. But when we did the analysis, it was her that was on the internet more than him. So she brought any relationship saying, oh, he's always on the internet and he, you know, the intimacy is suffering. But when we did the analysis, and she was the most shocked to see that she was more on the internet than he was. And she laughed, she apologized, and they're happy with it. So we cannot believe all the time that we can solve our issues by ourselves. And my advice is that we need to have people that are trained in the space and are giving subjective information, but also to help us from objective tools.
Some real nuggets being shared this morning. Some real nuggets. So we've come to the end of our show this morning because it's now 10 o'clock. But feel free to like and share our stream. Feel free also to re-watch if you need to re-watch. And I encourage everyone to make sure that they take that love languages test. Take that love language. Just go on Google and search, take the love languages test. Yes, Ramon. And so because of that, you're better able to, find out what appeases you and what appeases your spouse. You're now functioning in knowledge and not from headspace or what you think it is. And the truth is that sometimes when you take these love languages tests, you realize some stuff that you didn't even realize about yourself, because you might think your love language is acts of service when it might just be quality time. So it's important to know this and work in a place of knowledge rather than what you think it is, because especially you could have been married 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and realize that what was then what tickled your fancy 10 years ago does not right now. It is you're now in a different space. So so I'm glad that some of you have learned taking notes. I was actually trying to find that link for you to post to post that link. I could find that link to post in our chat for those of you who want to take that love languages test, and I forgot to do that. So I'm going to try to do that for you so that you can understand the importance of taking that love language test. Gentlemen, any closing words this morning?
Then I'll close first, as I usually close and be right. What I would say is, there are a couple of things that we're here. Simply learn to say, I love you. That will help the situation. Continue to offer your tokens, and remember, physical display of affections are the most effective. Because you don't like the pulling, let it pull. Let it get pull. Let us get a hug. Let me do. Just be flexible and let us love work, man. It's sweet, man. Get it work. You got problems all the time because it's human, but you never let the issues cause the love to fall apart. The love is the foundation. That'd be my 3 cents. And as usual, I gotta leave before the others, but love y'all. Stay sweet. Blessings.
Thank you very much, Bishop Mark.
You're welcome.
Well, I just said a mouthful before you finish, so I just said keep working at marriage, and I had it over Bishop. That's
Yeah, I would definitely say the same thing. Just be willing to learn, willing to change, and keep on growing.
All right, so I posted that link there quickly. Copy it, post it into your browser. The link to take the test for the love languages. Find out about yourself, find out about your spouse, and continue to learn. Next week, we're looking at intimacy. Intimacy in our Teach Me to Love series. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thanks, you're very welcome, Lizelle. And I'm glad that we've all learned this morning because I sat here and I learned. I don't think that any of us sit here any morning and we don't learn at some point in time. We all learn and we take away those nuggets for us. Before you go, hit that like button on our stream this morning. Hit that like button and share our live stream. It's important for us to be able to impact the world with kingdom knowledge. All right, we're impacting the world with kingdom knowledge. And please don't forget to continue to pray for all right now in the midst of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Please remember to keep them in your prayers. Don't let us neglect to prayer. Prayer changes things. That has been today's edition of Men on Monday. God bless you. We'll be back again when? Next Monday for another edition of Men on Monday. Don't forget, check out Bishop Edison Bynoe. Shante sharing this morning that she took in Bishop Bynoe's book and some good nuggets were shared there. So don't forget to check out Bishop Edison's book, available right now on Amazon, 8 Success Factors for a Healthy Life. And also Bishop Mark, if you need someone in need of lessons, feel free to check out Bishop Mark with his lessons happening on Saturday mornings and at various times too. So check him out, 268-1078. And of course, the folks over at Healthy Cottage, good morning